guys, I'm David with Dance On, and I'm giving you your weekly recap of So You Think You Can Dance Season 9. We have a little bit of a change of location today. I'm traveling, which is why there's just a wall and a couch. I'm also filming on my flip cam. I don't know if the quality is better or worse, so let me know about that. And also I have to talk a little bit more quietly because people are sleeping upstairs. So that's why all these things are different. So I'm so excited that So You Think You Can Dance is back on the air after the 2-week hiatus. And when they announced that it was a Mia Michaels focused episode, I literally died. This is just a disclaimer for this episode. My criticisms of the dances are not going to be focused on technique very much, just because Mia Michaels' pieces are so emotional and they're so focused on performance. Sorry about that, that's just what happens when I watch a Mia Michaels piece. The night started with Eliana and Cyrus's door routine, and I've got to say that Eliana really sold it once again, but not in her usual way, because usually I'm just very impressed by her technique. She really sold it in terms of her performance, and it was really evident in parts where there was minimal technique. For instance, the part where she's banging on the door to get back in. I was enamored by it because of her performance, the little contractions in her back. All of her contractions for this entire piece were completely on point. Cyrus, you know, he's got charisma and he's got sex appeal or whatever. It's very clear that at this point in the competition he should not be in it anymore. Tiffany and George's piece was next, and I've got to say that right from the very beginning I could tell that George was going to step it up just from his very first cross down and then his look at the hands. One thing that I will say about this routine, and this isn't really a criticism, but I found that the roles of the relationship were reversed. It seemed more like George was the woman in the relationship, whereas Tiffany was the man. She was very grounded and solid. I don't know if that was the choreography or if that was the couple. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing and if that was intentional on Mia's part, but regardless, I thought it was interesting. Next we had Will and Amelia's butt dance. Of course, Will and Amelia get the butt dance because they're the quirky couple. I will agree with the judges that Amelia seemed a little bit off. I was just so impressed with Will. I'm so impressed with Will every week. As they were both running across the stage and he has to pass her, he just threw his head back with this arm movement and just every little subtlety. He was really selling it in terms of character. Then we had Janelle and Darian's bed dance with the rose petals. I completely disagreed with the judges about Janelle. In the last few seconds when she was, the camera was close up on her face and she was rejecting him and stuff, I cried. That was the first dance of the night where I legitimately cried tears, and I was a mess. I did get what they were saying about her hair being in her face, but that's not her fault, that's the stylist's fault. And for the little bit where you could see her face, I thought that she was really performing well. Of course, that's not to say that Darian didn't do well also, and I thought that the attention the judges gave him was completely warranted. I thought he did a great job with this. I liked the little flip that he added. I just think that they sort of were too harsh on Janelle. I think that she did really well in this piece. Audrey and Matthew's piece to Time was okay. I would agree that Matthew was not connected. Tiffany, however, from the very first little wave, I completely got her interpretation as a little girl visiting her father. And although Nigel said something about Mia being grown up when she choreographed this piece, I thought that Tiffany's interpretation of the piece was completely viable. I think that Mia had to have approved of it if she were doing that in rehearsals. I think that Tiffany portrayed the part very well, and she was very convincing, and it was very moving, probably in a different way. I just wish that Matthew had been as invested in the character as Tiffany was. Whitney and Keon's bench routine was great. Also, one moment that I thought Keon really nailed the emotional connection was the little moment where Whitney reached for his hand and he scooted away. I really connected with that. I still agree that he needs to loosen up, but really that's, you know, a minor thing. He's a wonderful dancer, and Whitney did very well. Her jump off the bench into his arms was wonderful. Lastly, Lindsay and Nicole did probably what I think was the best routine of the night. They did the addiction piece, and I thought that Cole's interpretation was brilliant. It was completely different, but it was completely valid. Going into this routine, I even before they danced it, I knew it would be a great fit for him because he's been playing characters like this for a while. That sort of followed the theme of the night in terms of the dancers being assigned dances that fit them very well, and it almost walked the line of being predictable. I would have liked to see Mia try and stretch these dancers a little bit more because they did end up falling into the patterns that they've been following for the past few weeks. They ended up choosing Lindsay to stay, and they kicked off Amelia and Janelle, and honestly I think they should have chosen Amelia. Even though I hated her in the first few weeks, I've grown to really like her, and I think that she was the best dancer of the three girls. From the guys, the judges surprisingly chose George, and I don't disagree with that. He definitely has the best technique of the three of them. But it was just surprising because when you have, you know, Darian and Matthew, I definitely thought that they would have chosen one of them in terms of, you know, their appeal to the audience and stuff. Anyway, that's it for this week. I'm sorry if I'm, you know, talking quietly and I seem tired. I am tired. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Alright, bye!